Well, hello, everybody. We're going to start today by doing an acknowledgement of country, and then I'm going to introduce you to our guest today. So I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we are meeting today and pay my respects to elders past, present and future. Thank you everybody for joining us on our another episode of our Meet the Expert series, where Rose and I introduce you to people who work in the palliative care space, providing resources to you when working in aged care in the Hume region and across Victoria. I'd like to introduce you to Jennifer Gavin today, which is very exciting. Jennifer's the project coordinator for the LDAC Linkages Program. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Sam. So lovely to have the opportunity to be speaking with you. We've had a close contact over the last few years since you and Rose started in your roles. It's been a pleasure to connect regularly with you both and see all the great initiatives and support and benefits that you're providing for aged care in your region. So thank you for having me.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer is quite right. She catches up with us very regularly because LDAC, as you're going to, if you haven't already realised, LDAC is such a lovely resource and such a hub for everywhere you might want to go for information regarding palliative care when you're working in aged care. And I'm sure we'll find out all about it today. So I have some questions for Jennifer today. And the first question I have is, have you always had an interest working in palliative care and aged care?
Well, Sam, I'm a registered nurse, and like many of us, I've had an eclectic working life in a number of clinical and management settings and a variety of locations, including metro, rural, regional. I've also had experience in project management, service improvements, and had a number of years in the head office of a state health department as well. So I've had clinical experience in aged care settings, both residential and home care service. And more recently, I was a clinical manager for an at-home care service for many years. Along the way, I also had a period of being a quality assessor for what was then in the day the accreditation agency. And I also had the great opportunity to manage another national palliative care project that focused on upskilling primary care staff in advanced care planning for older Australia. I'm very passionate about the care of older people, and in particularly advanced care planning and palliative care. I certainly feel it's such a privilege to care for people at the end of life, and that I've had quite a bit of experience in this professionally with older people and personally, like many of us have.
Stunning. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Such a interesting history in the workplace there, and just so much to bring to this space, really. That's so cool. Would you like to talk to us, please, a bit about LDAC and your role in there, and what drew you to working for LDAC?
So firstly, I will, for those of you who don't know about LDAC, I'm hoping lots of you do, but LDAC is the end-of-life directions for aged care. So LDAC provides information, guidance and resources to health professionals and aged care in particular to support their palliative care and advanced care planning to improve the care for older Australians. The LDAC project is administered by a consortium of 3 universities. So QUT, Queensland University of Technology, where I'm based, Flinders Uni in Adelaide, UTS in Sydney. We also have, very closely working with us, 4 peak bodies, which are Palliative Care Australia, PCA. We love a lot of acronyms, don't we?
You're doing very well.
The newly formed Aged and Community Providers Association, ACPA, and Australian Healthcare and Hospitals Association, AHA, and Catholic Health Australia, CHA.
Wow.
So LDAC is a national palliative care project for aged care, and it has a number of areas and quite a widespread. So I just thought I'd tell you that it supports the aged care workforce to provide quality care through sharing palliative care and advanced care planning information, resources, guidance that are all evidence-based, and they're on the LDAC website. We're developing innovative palliative care technology solutions for aged care. We're also very focused on supporting the aged care workforce by building workforce capacity through upskilling, knowledge, skills, confidence of the workforce. And we also very much focus on creating partnerships between specialist palliative care services, aged care services, primary care, and all the other service providers that come together to help with that care of the older person. And we're also providing a lot of evidence and resources to support system capacity. We really find that's an important way. There's also many ways for this LDAC information about palliative and advanced care planning to be accessed. And the most important one and the hub of it all is the LDAC website. And I'm sure we'll provide the details about that. LDAC also provides a framework for thinking about palliative care and aged care. And when we were developing this, the 8 areas came up to make the LDAC care model, which some of you may have seen this very useful mouse pad. And it's essential. We found that was the best way to organise all the current and evidence-based information and resources that could be very helpful. And so it's also, one of those things that are circular for a reason, and you can dive in and dive out. And it also really shows that there can be, that care needs change over time. And that, so this LDAC care model really is about the eight domains we've found are on the website, and you'll find them as part of the toolkits that we have, so for easy access. The toolkits that we have in LDAC are free, evidence-based information, full of resources and tools. We're very much about linking with whatever else is out there. LDAC draws it together, but we know there's some very useful and important work happening in other national palliative care projects, and we certainly want a one-stop shop where you can come and draw over things. We actually have 8 toolkits, and they've been developed by experts from a range of practice areas and topics, and they're all relevant to the provision of palliative care and advanced care planning in aged care. Some of them are setting-based, such as a residential aged care area, a toolkit for that area. Others are a little bit more of a specific focus in a particular area, like we've recently released a dementia toolkit, and we have the very most useful end-of-life law toolkit that covers a number of ranges. So that's a little bit about LDAC.
Which is not a small amount of work being done. I think that if any of you that know me and Rose know that we're strong advocates of LDAC, and I always think that people working in aged care for palliative care, there's such an abundance of resources out there, which is amazing, but sometimes half of the problem is working out where to go. And so we always recommend go to the LDAC site as your first port of call. And if LDAC have got a toolkit for you, they will have it there. If they've identified one of their partners or the other people who do evidence-based practice have done a toolkit which because no point reinventing the wheel. If they've identified that a respected partner has got a toolkit for you, they will direct you within that website to that site. So
Yeah. And
just
that's,
use
yeah.
them like that.
And that's the wonderful thing about a website, Sam, is that it's constantly being updated. We're constantly knowing what other, we're very close contact and communication, and many of even our consortium are working on other projects. So we're bringing it all together for that exact reason. And I guess the next part of your question was what my role is. I'm a facilitator with the LDAC Linkages Program, which is a part of the bigger umbrella of LDAC. And the Linkages Program is a unique opportunity for me to work in an innovative program to support aged care providers, to identify their needs and their areas of focus, and then achieve and look at, identify, and then achieve their selected goals or activities for improvement. We tailor it for each service, which makes my role very diverse. We really want to focus and improve on what their needs are, and help them identify what they might be. But it's also about where they're located and who in their local or regional area, maybe the other service providers who are also doing great things and have great resources, so that we can come together and build those linkages, build those relationships, so that it can be a little bit more seamless for when those people need to come and support aged care in their journey. So that's one of the things that that my role is. Also, as a facilitator, I connect directly with each of the aged care services that participate in the Linkages Program and that I'm assigned to. It's really about getting to know them, walking the walk with them, listening to them, hearing their challenges, tailoring the program. While we have a framework, it's about tailoring what's going. No use me telling them what will work for them. It's about what we identify will work for them. Obviously, I have a big connection to resources and services that may help, but it's really around tailoring it to where they feel would be important to make their improvements and really gain real improvements for the whole team, and not, their staff as well as the residents. We help them as a facilitator. I help them to use the tools and resources to identify the areas they may want to look at. They may sort of have some idea, but we can focus a little bit more about what it is that they really think would be beneficial. And one of the things that we find just so worthwhile is increasing the skills and knowledge, and importantly, the confidence of their staff. They do beautiful palliative care, beautiful care every day, but it's about what can we bring to help them improve in certain areas and make a real difference. It's so wonderful to see staff who you're on the journey with, gain confidence. They're the ones coming up with the ideas. What about if we do this? And involving the whole team. And we get so much wonderful feedback of actual examples of where they said, oh, we put this in place and this happened, and this was a really good benefit and we feel really good about it. So that's really that my role. Yeah. And that's what's lovely. It's so diverse. Yes. I guess what drew me to working for LDAC, it was an exciting opportunity. I came along with LDAC at its very beginning, a journey for the last 6 years, and will be continuing in the future. And it's also was really allowed me to draw on many aspects of my experience, not only my clinical aged care experience, but also change management, continuous improvement, sector engagement. And, I recently also had a role of, managing another national palliative care project. So that all gave the foundations or the building blocks. I was also very lucky in the wonderful timing, as I was already personally going to move and have a sunshine change to Queensland to be closer to my family. So being based out of QUT in Brisbane was also a wonderful thing that was happening at the same time. And I guess it's really drew me to being able to mentor, coach, facilitate, link them and with other providers.
Yeah,
it's been lovely.
It sounds like it was the perfect timing for you. And I think you're quite right. The facility led aspect of the LDAC Linkages program really does help the facilities to work out what's important to them, and also it brings practical quality improvement to the facilities. It's not just about this cookie cutter approach to improving palliative care in your service. You're looking at things that are it's actually much like the palliative care approach. When we're teaching client-centered holistic palliative care, we need to be also looking after our palliative care providers in a client-centered way that is showing the facilities as a complex place of work. So it works very well. It is.
And an important part of where we always start with, is about whatever we're doing about being embedded and sustained. It's not just, we'll do this. It's like, how are we going to bed this and keep this going? How's this going to make sustainable change? It's not just a, dip in, dinner. It's a real, and particularly in the Linkages program, is how we're going to embed and keep this going. How's this going to become part of your normal, part of something that is going to be happening 24/7 in your service, not just reliant on certain individuals in their great roles, but it's a really important aspect, and we start with that and continue all the way along, and we never really leave anybody. They stay with us. We have an alumni where we keep in touch with them, but it's also that that aspect of them feeling they're on a journey that's going to continue, and they're going to have ways to check in and know, are we still on the right track? They're going to have the tools to think, what's next for us to focus on? We're doing that well now. What's next? And that's how really, providing a service for aged care is about that continual improvement, because, nothing stands still, does it?
Absolutely not. It's quite it's very pertinent. Absolutely. My next question for you, Jennifer, is what is the best way for those working in aged care to use LDAC to support their practice and increase their knowledge in palliative care and advanced care planning?
Well, we have a very, very comprehensive website that holds all our resources. So it's a really good starting point, but it's not to be seen as a place that you'd only go to once. And one of the other ways to really supplement, knowing that that's where the resources and information is held, is I would firstly and importantly encourage everybody to sign up to the LDAC newsletter. It's full of great information. It's very useful. Each month it might focus on different parts of the LDAC program as a whole, what's new, what's recently been developed. It also might focus on a particular part of the website or tools or area. It also provides great valuable stories about how LDAC resources are being used and applied. So, the newsletter the LDAC newsletter also provides a lot of information about what's available in other projects and services and initiatives that are happening for this area and for this sector. So it's not, all about, we very much happily promoting what else is going on that's very relevant for aged care in the advanced care planning or palliative care sector. So importantly, the sign up is it's on the first page of the LDAC website. I guess the other part that I really like to draw the attention to of where aged care providers and staff would like to go is to the LDAC toolkits. And there is a range of them, and it was a way of bringing together a vast amount of evidence, knowledge, resources, and you're all very busy people. So it's really about trying to put, like you were saying, in one place, the current and evidence-based resources and information that's needed. There's 7 active toolkits at this point in time. Most relevant, and most relevant at this time probably would be for us to mention the residential aged care toolkit. And I guess just to give a quick overview, that it actually has 3 sections. There's the clinical section, which really has information organised in I love my prompt, in the LDAC care model areas. And it's really good that you might be able to, as a busy clinician, dive into something or just go to the point that you think, you think we need to know a bit more, or we've got a particular situation or example, or we'd just like to know some more information, so you can jump into that and get connected and linked to other areas that may give you what you're looking for, real practical information. But then there are other ones that you may also want to come back to for a particular specific information that you need, like the end of law toolkit. It is invaluable with what it provides. It's proven to be a very helpful resource for aged care staff. There's a number of very relevant topic areas which are being added to all the time as well. The one thing I love, such as one of the things that people really like are the legal protection for administering pain and symptom relief. And what's fantastic around the way that this has been developed is there's fact sheets that you could print off and put in a tea room or put on a notice board. But within the fact sheet, they don't only tell you what it is, they also tell you a myth buster of what it's not, and they give you a case story. So, you can feel like it's something that you could relate to, because you can apply it to an example. And of course, as I mentioned, there's the newly released dementia toolkit, which I think so many people in aged care can go to really draw on that current evidence-based information that might just supplement, help provide something different for them that they're looking for at the time, if they have a situation where they're thinking, what else could we do? Where else is some appropriate information?
Absolutely, Jennifer. We love the LDAC end of life legal toolkit and use it often. It is just such a clear and concise place to get information and relevant information to your practice around those sticky situations that you find yourself in. And these are the situations that always come up, and no one knows where they stand with them and around end of life care. And as you say, the number of things that you can look into is growing, but it's just you can get exactly what you need quickly, clearly, and concisely. And that's what we need when people work in aged care. They just don't have the time to go digging through reams and reams of information, but it's coming from a reliable source. So
and keep coming back. Don't think that you're going to have it's something that, oh my God, I've got to go through all this at once. It's go in, look for what you need it for the time, for the situation, and keep coming back.
Yeah, I know it's there for you if you need it again. And another amazing resource on the LDAC website are the self-care resources.
Yes, yes,
which we're always linking to. So yeah, just a wealth of information, really.
And always growing. That's the lovely dynamic thing about a website, is that there's more being added to it. And that's where our newsletter links, because the newsletter says, oh, there's something new, go here to find this new. That saves you having to scroll through the whole the whole website to find out what's new.
Exactly. Yeah, keep onto the newsletters for the most up-to-date opportunities and information that come out, and all these developments that are coming out at LDAC. Speaking of opportunities, are there any exciting opportunities and developments on the horizon for our aged care workforce?
Absolutely. We're delighted to share that the Commonwealth Government has announced ongoing funding for LDAC. And this funding will enable us to continue with our wealth of resources and continue with the Linkages Program and get more aged care providers participating in that. And it's being able to continue to support the work that's being done in residential aged care, home care, primary care. And we're very grateful for this support, and that we're going to be continuing. And to let you know, that means for us in the Linkages Program, we will be expanding to be able to invite and seek more aged care services across Australia, but in your region as well, both home care and residential, to come on board. As I mentioned before, you get with the Linkages Program, it's a facilitated program. So you get assigned to work with a facilitator. We will support your service and your team, mentor, coach, regularly meet with you, put you on the journey, be on the journey with you. We become very, very close. We work together very closely and help with that, bring that outside view, or bring that expertise of what we've seen. And that's the other great thing of having done a couple of the LDAC stages programs before and being refunded, is we have a wealth of information about what other services tried, what worked for them, what might be appropriate. We have also built great connections of other services such as specialist palliative care services, PHNs, other local services that we can connect, participating services who come along to the Linkages Program with us, because that's a really important part of them, is enhancing that relationship. There is often a lot of relationships already there with local service providers, but it's sort of about that enhancing and building upon it, strengthening it is a word I would use. And it's also that sitting down and having that bit of a mutual beneficial discussion about what's working for us and what's working, what's not, or where's might be a few hurdles. And likewise for those services when they're interacting with aged care, for them to be able to say what's working really well, but where's some areas we could make it a bit more seamless, improve that communication, work together. Often they don't know of, and rightly so, there's so much happening. They may not know of local initiatives that are happening, and that's where us as facilitators can bring, and we can reach out, we can help connect. I guess what I mentioned a little before too was, but we can also start, and we do have a little bit of a framework to work around, with some key activities, but it's very much tailored to the service, because what's going to work in one place is not necessarily going to work in another, just because of the dynamics or the makeup of that service, or their clients or residents, or where they're physically located. It makes a big difference. So we will help them guide them through assessing and developing what they might want to focus on, what they think would be beneficial, what they think might be really good, and we can bring to the table some suggestions of good improvement activities that we've seen have been very beneficial. And then we can assist them to look around their local area. Who else is around there that they may not? There's, lots of obvious ones, but there might be some other services that it might be really good that they link with or connect a bit stronger with. And then we can walk the journey with them as we put in some activities, see how they're going, and reassess how does that look, how has the improvement gone. Like I mentioned before, we really want to get them thinking about embedding what they have, making it sustainable, how it's going to go through in the future. It's not just for the, facilitated journey that we're on with them. We will work with them, regularly, often, chat to them lots of times, however best works for them. That often has to be tailored to how their service works as well. And I guess what we've really found, and, this is a real life example in the program, has just shown the improved capacity to provide palliative care and advanced care plan. And it's just a joy to see and get real examples of where the staff confidence and skills and knowledge has really been enhanced, and it's been to a real benefit for them and for their residents and clients. There's many great examples, and we recently had a showcase in Canberra for a day. Not everyone could speak, unfortunately, because there was a lot, but a few particular people gave presentations on what they'd done and how they'd improved certain areas to give examples of what's happening. And it was, very well received and very, very good feedback about how beneficial it was for them. And I guess, if you don't mind, I'd like to read a quote of somebody that we recently got that I think really sums it up.
Please do, absolutely.
Person said, the Linkages program provided us with an opportunity to start an internal journey of evaluation and understanding our service provision and our relationships with those key stakeholders who support us and help us to ensure that our residents receive good quality care. So, in a nutshell.
Beautiful nutshell, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful nutshell. And I think we do have, and if you'd like me to provide some links, we have a link to the showcase. We made a webpage about the showcase, and every service, even those not everyone could speak, they all put a slide. We had a rolling slide presentation of what they thought the benefits were, and that's up on the website for people to see. And with the initial phase at the beginning of LDAC, when we finished that, we got all our services to write. They presented it, they wrote a case story, and we have a beautiful case story booklet which tells it. And I tell people it's really good to look at because it shows the variety of what people decided was important for their staff and their residents and their care provision, so it shows the vast amount of things that they can put in place to do some improvement.
Beautiful. Yes, that'd be great. What we'll do is we'll get Jennifer to share all those links with us, and we'll just put all of those links in the I want to say the show notes of the YouTube channel that we're recording this on. Sounds very YouTube official, doesn't it? In the show notes, and also on the newsletter. We're always sharing the LDAC resources through the newsletter. But we'll pop it in a few different spots for you, so it's nice and easy to find. All else fails, head to the LDAC website, and it's all going to be there too.
Yeah, and most certainly I'll be in contact with you when we get to the point of knowing when we're going to put out an expression of interest to actually get some participating services, we will certainly be in
Yes,
touch with you for your
absolutely.
area.
Yeah, watch this space, guys, for expressions of interest. You want to get in nice and early because it's such a good opportunity. And we've seen just some brilliant benefits. We have some examples of some great benefits even in the Hume area on the LDAC website if you wanted to have a look and see that it works in our area too. So have a chat with us, and we'll also leave Jennifer's contact details too if you would like to speak with her directly about it. But we're happy to chat with you about it. I have one last question for you, Jennifer. What message would you like to convey to our aged care workforce?
Oh, my dear, they do such important and valuable work every day. You know, we hear great examples and see great examples of this all the time. You know, I think they do amazing work. I guess the other thing is for them to realise there is lots of resources being developed and new resources being developed across to the sector to assist them in many areas. Like I said before, that's why keeping in touch with the latest evidence-based resources and what's being developed is so important. So please sign up for the LDAC newsletter. The other the other message, and you touched on too, you know, while working in aged care is very rewarding, but it is also very stressful and it's very emotionally exhausting, and it has been through so much change and will continue to do. So, you know, be very careful of placing yourself at risk of compassion fatigue and burnout. And that's why I'd also like to reiterate, you know, the self-care is a very necessary part of looking after yourself. And LDAC has an online self-care room that contains free information and resources for, you know, for all aged care workers to build. Hopefully build some resistance to this. We've also got an LDAC My Care Matters web page that might be useful information and resources to build confidence as well. And just take the time, you know, to look at these and, like we say, dive in and dive out. Another point, I guess, older Australians and the aged care workforce itself are from many different backgrounds, and as are the workforce that care for them. So being a part of group with others of the same background can help people get connected. So LDAC has some diverse populations resources that may be able to help to support inclusion in the care. I can't say enough. Be a frequent visitor to our website, to our tools, to our resources. Keep coming back, come back again. You know, whenever you have a particular situation at the time, you know, and the website is designed for you not to take it all in at once, but just to dive into the area that you need and come back to know that. Finally, probably I'd say take up any opportunity that is available to be involved in initiatives and programs. You know, there are more coming along and relating to palliative care and advanced care planning to assist not only your staff, but the care for the residents and clients. And as we said, as such, the LDAC Linkages Program and the website, it's all free. It's specifically here for you. Another great example, if you don't mind me giving you, of recent feedback from an aged care service that participated in the Linkages program we received was, and I quote, "The learnings for our staff and benefits for staff and residents have far surpassed our expectations," which is just music to our ears and something, you know, lovely. We'd welcome any opportunity to connect with aged care services, show them the resources, tell them about the facilitated linkages program, and discuss what their needs may be and how we may be able to assist. So thank you.
That's beautiful. LDAC truly has been such a wonderful tool to work with as a resource nurse in the Hume region. And you can really tell that the site is designed for people who work in aged care. And like Jennifer has said so beautifully, it's not something that you're supposed to take upon yourself as to absorb the entirety of it. It's supposed to work in such a way that you dip in and out of it as you require it, and that you know where to go for reliable evidence-based information when you need it. And the other amazing work that LDAC does is, like they say, they just have all these wonderful initiatives where they're trying to really promote this team-based approach to care, because as we know, shouldering palliative care and aged care on our own shoulders is such a hard task, and we need to be utilizing the specialities and the external services around us in order to provide the best holistic care that we can for our residents, and not just honing in on one particular thing. And that's where our experts come in. So please do take up the opportunity. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Jennifer. I think that a lot of people will find this really useful, and we'll put lots of links in our newsletter and on the YouTube page that we're going to show this. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, and thank you for asking me. And like I said, I've loved the connection that I've had with Rose and you for a number of years now, and it's always a joy.
Thank you so much.